You're welcome back. This is Firecrackers. It's the second part of the program. My name is Kelly Egiga. I'm joined tonight by someone that understands the workings of the National Assembly as we discuss some very pressing issues of national interest. He's a two-term member of the House of Representatives. He represented Ijebu North East, Odubulu Federal Constituency in Ogun State. And then, of course, for 8 years, I must say, Honorable Kehinde Odeneye joins us live on the program tonight. Thank you so much, Honorable, for making our time to be here.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I hope I got that correctly. 8 years.
8 years, yes.
8 years.
2011 to 2019.
19, yes. So you definitely understand the workings of the National Assembly. And just a moment ago, we saw Ali Ndume complain about the very hasty and speedy passage of the approvals or requests coming from Mr. President. We'll get into all of that in just a moment. But let's begin with our brother and friend, Femi Fani-Kayode. Classical politics, I understand, the kind that we play in this part of the country. But I wonder what your immediate thoughts are. You're a member of the APC. Are you happy to see him in your camp?
Yeah. Let me say this. It's not unusual that we have politicians, let me use that word.
Yeah, that sounds really nice.
We politicians moving from one political party to the other is not unusual. Not just in Nigeria alone, but all other places. But coming down to Nigeria, you see, the issue here is about interest. And most especially from what Femi Fani-Kayode said, he saw APC as something else before. Now he's seeing APC as something else again. And I think he sees his interest being taken care of in the present APC. And he said that's why he has joined. However, we're still going to see a lot of joinings as time goes on, because we are getting closer to
joinings to the APC.
Both joining from APC to another party and from other parties to APC.
As well.
It's not unusual, because we are getting closer to the 2023 election, and you know we just have up to December. From January 2022, the politics start again. So you definitely see people cross-carpeting from one party to the other. And again, you see, yes, as a member of APC, I'm definitely going to be happy that people are coming to APC. Unfortunately, nobody seems to be checking the characters of individuals that are coming into APC. Because if someone has said earlier that I would rather die than coming into APC, what exactly has changed in APC that is attracting him that he will no longer die joining APC? The same person was accusing and abusing Mr. President, and suddenly Mr. President has become a saint to him. So we have to be careful. Despite the fact that we are happy that people are joining, we also have to be careful, because it's not impossible that some people will intentionally join your party just to know how you are doing, what your tactics are, and again tomorrow they may still be there, but they are working for other people. Or they may wake up again tomorrow to say that no, this is not what we expected. APC has to be careful. We shouldn't just, we can be welcoming people, but we also have to be doing a background check.
So there's this other talk that some members of your party have labored, they have fought for the party, they have made sacrifices, but they have not had the chance to be presented to Mr. President. And here, someone just joining from nowhere has the rare privilege of meeting with Mr. President.
It all depends on what you mean by presented to Mr. President. If I am a node member, I don't think I need any introduction to the Mr. President again, because we've been members of the party right from beginning. So I need no introduction to the Mr. President. But if someone is coming from another political party, especially PDP for that matter, I think it's a privilege for the Mr. President to, for those people joining, to have an handshake from Mr. President.
The argument is that some of you wanted a one-on-one with Mr. President, probably to share some ideas with him and all of that. But let's leave all of that.
Mr. President cannot meet with everybody.
Okay, let's stay with politics for a moment. We'll come to the issue of this loan request.
Okay.
But since we are discussing politics and 2023 and all of that, let's begin with the Southern Governors meeting.
Yeah.
They have met now for the third time. We must commend them. I'm sure you also would want to commend them. Just a moment ago, I was asking you why the other part of the country, in quote, seems quiet about 2023. Why are the Southern Governors this time around this vocal about the issue of zoning and some other pressing issues?
Yeah. I also want to join my voice with yours to commend the Southern governors for the bold decision and for the bold step they have taken. In the past, they probably would have kept quiet. But that's why we have to commend them, because they have come out to say what they think should be the position of the nation come 2023. Ordinarily, without any argument, even when it is not stated in any documentation, it is common sense that now that the North has had 8 years, it should ordinarily move to the South. It's not as if the Northerners have actually kept quiet. No. The Borno State government has been very vocal on this position of zoning. Even sometimes they go to the governor of Kano State, also said his own mind, made his own mind known to Nigerians, that as it is, ordinarily, all things being equal, the next president of Nigeria should come from southern part of the country. So it's not as if they have been totally quiet, but you know, if I understand you quite well, I think you are also thinking that they could come together as a forum, this Northern Governors Forum, to also say that they are endorsing Southerners to produce the next president for Nigeria. I want to believe that their silence as a group is tactical. Tactical because they want to see what the position of the Southerners will be. Unfortunately, whether they are quiet or they are vocal on this, it is common sense. There's no doubt about that. It is common sense that if we are talking about true federalism, if we're talking about fairness and equity, which is what I believe should be in this case, right. I think whether they remain quiet or they are vocal or they say anything, it is common sense that the Southerners should produce the next president of Nigeria.
I understand there was a gentleman agreement somewhere around 2013, 2014 about this issue of zoning. Let me even ask you, do you believe in the concept of zoning?
Yeah. Right from beginning, even ever since I joined politics, even before I joined politics, I've always been an advocate of zoning. Zoning will bring about equity and fairness. You see, if this time around a northerner rules the country, it behoves on everybody with common sense to also believe and support the fact that the southerner should also take over from northerners. And that can go on like that. So anybody that is against zoning should come out to tell us precisely why and what they have against it. Because when President Muhammadu Buhari came, even the southerners came out en masse because we believed that it was the turn of northerners to produce the president. We came out en masse to support President Muhammadu Buhari in getting to that position. So I see no reason why everybody should come out now to say that no, the southerners are not ripe enough to produce the next president of this country. So I personally, my personal opinion is I support zoning so that, you see, zoning at the end of the day will bring about equal development to the country, whether we like it or not. A lot of people have spoken against zoning, that we should just leave everybody.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I was going to point at that. some very strong figures in the north, Tanko Yakasai, and I think the Arewa group also have condemned it.
Why are they just coming out to say...
They say it's not constitutional.
No. Why are they, is it now that they have just woken up to know it's not constitutional? When in the last 8 years back, all of us as a nation, even the northerners, said the president should come from the north, and that was why the two major political parties zoned their presidency to the north. So are they just waking up now to know that the zoning arrangement is not in any documentation or even in the constitution? I think they're just they're exercising their opinion, no doubt about that. But for common sense sake, for equity, for fairness, and for justice, for everybody in this nation, we should have a southerner this time around taking over from...
I wonder what your party is saying about this issue of zoning and the 2023 presidency.
Yeah, the party has kind of been quiet, but from some of the documentations that have been rolled out, whether genuine or fake, we have seen even the zoning of the party officials. And when the northerners produce the chairman of APC come the next national convention, right, it's common sense to note that the presidency will move to southerner automatically.
Honorable Kehinde, let's take a breather. When we come back, we'll stay with the issue of zoning, the 2023 presidency. While the southern governor said it has to be zoned here to the south, the question is where in the south? Is it southwest? Is it southeast? Is it south? We'll get your perspective in just a moment. Please stay with us.
Okay.
All right, thanks for staying with us. This is Firecrackers. Let's begin to wind down the conversation. Two-term member of the House of Representatives is still here with us, Honorable Kehinde Odeneye. So the issue of zoning 2023 presidency, as we begin to wrap up on that particular conversation, the question is where exactly in the south?
Yeah, unfortunately, that question is a bit dicey for me to answer. But all I know is that the southern should produce the presidency. As a southwesterner, I would ordinarily say that there's nothing bad in the presidency coming to the southwest. But it is open to the whole of southern, south-south, southeast, southwest, to produce the presidency. So it all depends on the zoning arrangement of the political parties.
I'm not sure the Southeast will be very happy with such a statement from you.
No, they are free to fight for it. If it doesn't go to them, I don't think it's anything bad. Whoever emerges should come from South. That is what is most important.
Do you see the Southern governors staying united like this until 2023?
All of them may not be able to stay united like this because they belong to different political parties. So, but as far as the presidency is concerned, coming to southern part of the country, I see them staying together until that objective is achieved.
All right, so the issue of the value-added tax as well, because we have you on set.
Yeah.
It's interesting to hear your position on this. Which side of the divide do you belong? The states responsible for VAT?
I am a chartered accountant, and I've always been a tax practitioner as well.
Oh, interesting.
When the VAT law came out, then there has been this agitation right from then that value-added tax, because value-added tax came, what we were made to believe then was value-added tax came to replace the old sales tax, and sales tax used to belong to states. So when value-added tax came, there was this issue that for Lagos, for instance, there are no ports in other part of the country. I mean, in northern part of the country, there are ports in southern part. A lot of goods will come into Lagos ports, where they will be taken to where they will be sold eventually or utilized eventually to produce. So in Lagos, the custom will collect the VAT on those items in Lagos. However, those items might be used in other states of the Federation for production or for consumption. Again, in the northern part, there are some states, almost all the states in the northern part, they do not have breweries. And they also do not want their people to consume alcohol. And alcohol attracts value-added tax. If you do not want your people to consume alcohol that attracts VAT, I don't think you should also ask for the value-added tax coming from such consumption. So ordinarily, I think what the Federal Inland Revenue Service should do is to just administer and look at how it can be done and managed. States, there are several states here. You see, even if the information that have been circularized by River State Governor is not totally correct, or the one coming from FRS is not totally correct, it's common sense that everybody contribute to that pool, and the majority of the people that are contributing to that pool do not get as much share as even those ones that do not have any contribution to that pool. It's not fair. There's no equity there. There's no justice. So if you're talking going back to issue of justice, fairness, and equity, why do we have derivation rule? We have derivation rule. So even if the Federal Revenue Service states that they want to be the one collecting VAT, no problem. But the states that are contributing more, larger share to the purse, should get larger share. Get the percentage of your contribution from that VAT. And that is where I stand. If they insist, if the federal government insists that VAT, unfortunately again for Federal Inland Revenue Service, the value-added tax is not an exclusive right of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, because it is not there in the Constitution. So meaning that every state of the Federation has a right to enact value-added tax law of their own state. Collect what you can collect and spend what you can spend. And that is what I believe in.
If this comes to the National Assembly, what do you think your colleagues should do to end this controversy?
What I expect them to do is to apply common sense. This is not just going to be a straight jacket thing. They have to apply common sense. If in Kano State, for instance, you have said that you cannot consume beer, so why should you collect money that comes from beer? If it's about religion that you are saying you cannot consume beer, you should not also take money coming from church. It's common sense. So if that law, now the Federal Inland Revenue Service, it seems you were sleeping before. They had forgotten because nobody woke up to really say that no, it is not your exclusive right.
Yes.
Now that someone has come and every state is doing it, they want to go back to the National Assembly to now turn that VAT that used not to be an exclusive right to now be an exclusive right. The National Assembly should be cautious in this regard. They have to apply common sense. It shouldn't just be a straight jacket thing. There must be common sense. It's simple. If you do not want something, you should not want anything that is associated with it. Common sense.
All right, Honorable, we have to go to other issues as well. I mean, since we have you on with us, it has to do with Mr. President's loan. In fact, maybe I should say continuous loan requests. It's barely been 2 months. Mr. President wrote to the National Assembly, your colleagues, requesting for about I think $8.3 billion. Here he is again, this time over $4 billion. That's about 2.2 trillion naira. And we also have 710 million euros. I wonder what you make in the first instance of the borrowing plan of this administration, and of course, which in turn is a representative of your party.
Yeah. Initially, sincerely, I had nothing against borrowing, in as much as such borrowings are applied to infrastructural development and some other things that will bring back development to the country, and that can also increase our earnings economically, so that we'll be able to pay back. But the rate at which we borrow nowadays is fearful. And even if, you see, one thing that fears me most is that these loans we are talking about is not going to be paid back by me and you, but also to some other generations. Because Unfortunately, again, if you look at our national budget, the amount with which we are servicing our loan are so much is not less than 50% of the national budget. So it simply means that it is about 50% or more. It simply means that whatever is left is what can be applied on payment of salaries of civil servants and capital expenditure. And if you look at the volume of our capital expenditure, the amount that has been appropriated for capital expenditure is far, far below the amount we are applying in servicing our loan. So that is where my concerns comes from. Unfortunately, again, we are not having series of sources of income. We are just a mono economy. This government, at the beginning, decided or promised to take Nigeria away from mono economy and increase budgetary allocations to agriculture, and also ensure that we have more earnings coming from agriculture that can stay side by side with income from oil. Unfortunately, we have not gotten there at all. Even the amount of budgetary allocation to agri is not something that can actually stand to grow the agri sector. So my fear is that, unfortunately, again, we don't have control over our major source of revenue to the extent that we can increase it to that level that it will be comfortable enough to be able to pay back our loan without any stress. And that is where the worries come from. So if we continue to use the money we are supposed to use to better lives, we are using it in servicing loan repayments, not even the capital repayments. We're talking about interest repayments. So the capitals are not coming in yet. So you see, it's really, I'm afraid that time will come that the entire budget may now be the one used to service our loan. Well, the only reason we may not get there is for government to go back again to the people that have loaned us money to rearrange again. And rearranging of the loan means pushing forward to further years the repayments, and which is also pushing forward the pains. However, do not let us just be talking about these disadvantages alone. One good thing about this government.
I understand the loan is for infrastructural.
That's where I want to move to. One good thing about the government is that most of the loan, if not all, have been put into infrastructural development. Sukuk loan, for instance, if you go to most of the roads that have been constructed, go to Oyo Ilorin Expressway, you will see some areas where they put sukuk loan, meaning that those loans are attached to specific infrastructure projects. So that is what I would also like this government to continue to do. These new loans that they're talking about, we should have an analysis of that loan, specifically what they're supposed to be applied to.
All right.
Because some of these loans have been applied to some road construction and some other infrastructure development that have not even finished. At the time they were taking the loan, they said they will use those loans to finish those projects. Yet, those projects have not finished.
Not be finished. The other issue for many Nigerians is we keep asking, this administration has recovered a lot of loots. So where are the loots? I mean, one had thought that maybe they should have been used for some of this kind of projects instead of borrowing. Very
unfortunate too. As an accountant, I expected that why do you have to warehouse money when you are in need of so much money? For instance, sometimes ago, the EFCC chairman came to the National Assembly and someone asked him, where are the loots? They said there is one presidential task force or one presidential team that will decide on what to do. And again, the jewelries that were taken from Desiani are still in the coffers of the EFCC. Which does not make any sense to me. The value of the jewelries alone, is about 14 billion naira. That was what, either naira or dollars, I don't know what, I can't remember.
All of this put together, the Boy administration unable to provide detailed explanation of some of these recovered loans and what the loans are used for. Is that a bad precedence for your party, the ruling All Progressive Congress?
Is that a bad what?
Is that a bad development for your party?
For me as a chartered accountant, it's a bad development, especially for an administration that wants to be seen as being clean. We have to come clean at all times and in all situations. In this particular case, it is common sense that you can't be having money that you are not going to pay any interest on.
All right.
You keep it and you are borrowing money that you are going to pay interest on. I am talking basically as a chartered accountant. It does not make any sense to me for you to warehouse. It's just like you as a businessman putting money in bank account and you are going outside there to go and borrow money to finance your project. It doesn't make any sense.
Honorable Kehinde, Odeneye, former member, House of Representatives, in fact, two-term member of the House of Representatives. I would like to thank you most kindly for your views and insights tonight. I need to specifically thank you for speaking more as a chartered accountant than even a politician tonight. Thank you so much for making our time to be here.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, so we have to go now. Unfortunately, time not enough to discuss other issues with Honorable here, but thank you so much for being on the program this afternoon. My name is Kehinde. Good evening.